Money makes the world go around, and unsurprisingly it's even more true when it comes to the dollar-snatching movie moguls in LA's finest establishment, Hollywood. Studios are obsessed with counting their little bags of gold rather than producing content we actually want to see, churning out reliable franchises in their hundreds before taking leaps of faith on original ideas. Most people can tell what the biggest hits are going to be as soon as the release schedule is announced. However, some projects can surprise everyone by overperforming at the box office and taking theatres by storm. Whether it be through capturing the violent joys of an R rating, dropping some #woke content, or just being very pretty to look at, plenty of movies have shown that it isn't just the usual suspects that dominate the box office. With that in mind, I'm Ash from What Culture, and these are 10 movies that massively overperformed at the box office. 10. Deadpool. A violent, profanity-laced, fourth wall-breaking comic book movie was seen by many as a risky venture, and as a result, Fox gave the production a modest $58 million budget. However, a combination of social media hype and a brilliant marketing campaign saw Deadpool smash box office records when it hit theatres. In the process, Tim Miller's feature debut set the highest February opening weekend ever, and became the highest-grossing R-rated movie of all time, as well as the biggest earner in the entire X-Men franchise to date. It turns out all we really want to see is bad-mouthed anti-heroes kicking the shit out of people after all. We're a simple folk. 9. Black Panther. As recently as December, Disney were predicting an opening weekend of just $75 million for the upcoming Black Panther. Instead, Ryan Coogler's first foray into the Marvel Cinematic Universe dominated the conversation like no other comic book movie ever has, with months of hype turning the release of the superhero blockbuster into a bona fide cultural event. To put things into perspective, after only a little over 2 weeks in theatres, Black Panther has earned more money at the box office than Justice League, Man of Steel, Logan, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Captain America the Winter Soldier managed during their entire theatrical runs, and it shows no sign of slowing down either. The movie's $202 million domestic debut was the 5th biggest in history and has held incredibly well, smashing numerous records in the process. 8. It. Nostalgia is all the rage these days, and Andy Muschietti's It tapped directly into that vein, satisfying both 1980s aficionados and fans of the Tim Curry starring miniseries from 1990 in the process. It helped that the movie was a well-crafted studio horror bolstered by several great performances and a genuinely interesting story. But the movie nonetheless rode a huge wave of positive buzz and ultimately became the highest-grossing horror movie in history. It really did stay afloat. Get it? I'll go now. When it did finally hit theatres, it was nothing short of a phenomenon. The low-cost, high-reward model of the horror genre is pretty much built for success anyway. But the film overperformed, accruing $700 million globally that comfortably smashed The Exorcist's 44-year-old record as the biggest horror hit of all time, without a can of pea soup in sight. 7. Avatar. With an eye-watering budget of $237 million and a worldwide gross of over $2 billion, there's no way a box office list can be fathomed without James Cameron's blue alien extravaganza making an appearance. Marking the advent of 3D technology and standing tall as the benchmark for widespread cultural phenomenon, many couldn't have guessed the lasting impression Avatar would leave on the industry when it first screened in 2009. While somewhat fading into obscurity after its initial hype, Avatar is still the film to be beaten for insane profits that don't abide by any sort of scaling system. 6. Wolf Warrior 2. At some point in the near future, Wolf Warrior 2 may very well be regarded as the movie that signalled the turning point in China's ascendancy to the world's #1 market for cinema. Wu Jing's action sequel, made for a modest $30 million, may have only earned $2.7 million in the United States, but globally it comfortably outperformed mega-budget comic book movies Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Thor Ragnarok, Wonder Woman, Justice League and Logan. $870 million at the global box office is a hugely impressive number for any movie, but the fact that well over 90% of that total came from China alone is nothing short of incredible. The highest grossing Chinese movie ever made, both domestically and internationally, by over $300 million, Wolf Warrior 2 didn't just smash box office records, it annihilated them. 5. The Intouchables. Remember the schmaltzy French dramedy that outperformed Django Unchained, Prometheus, Taken 2 and Titanic 3D at the box office in 2012? No? Well, it was The Intouchables, and no, that's not the Al Capone film. The only bigger surprise than feel-good extravaganza The Intouchables coming out of nowhere to earn $444 million worldwide is that Hollywood failed to capitalise on the hype right away, with the American version suffering several false starts over the years. Even with drug-peddling Bryan Cranston and incessantly squawky Kevin Hart signed on as leads, it seems unlikely that the remake will ever make it to the big screen, given that the Weinstein Company were the project's primary backers. Ew. 4. American Sniper. It may not be Clint Eastwood's best movie from either side of the camera by any means, but American Sniper is by far the screen legend's most lucrative effort, and by quite some distance. Prior to the release of the 2015 biographical effort, the biggest financial success of Eastwood's career was a $270 million grossing Gran Torino. American Sniper earned double that amount. Typically, not many Oscar-baiting prestige movies tend to make a massive dent at the box office, but American Sniper opened to a mammoth $89 million in the United States and beat out the blockbuster competition to become the biggest movie of the year domestically. As well as becoming the highest-grossing war movie in history, American Sniper's global tally of $574 million was almost as much as the total earned by the rest of the year's Best Picture nominees combined. Fake baby and all. 3. Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle. As previously mentioned, nostalgia is a powerful marketing tool in Hollywood these days, but works best when a fresh spin is put on the formula. No movie in recent years that isn't named Star Wars has demonstrated this better than Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, a sequel that was written off by many following some underwhelming promotional footage. To put it mildly, Jumanji was the hit of 2017's holiday season. The movie's $36 million opening wasn't even good enough to take first place at the domestic box office, but it remained in the top 10 for an incredible 14 weeks on its way to becoming the 5th biggest hit of the year in the United States. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? It's profit. Lots and lots of profit. 2. Jurassic World. The Jurassic Park franchise had seemingly gone out with a whimper in the early part of the 21st century. Steven Spielberg's classic original may have been the biggest movie in history and a benchmark in blockbuster cinema when it was released. But to put it mildly, the sequel suffered so badly from the law of diminishing returns that the series remained mired in development hell for over a decade. The list of records broken by Colin Trevorrow's blockbuster were nothing short of remarkable. It scored the highest opening weekend in history, both domestically and internationally on both regular screens and IMAX theatres, and hit the $1 billion mark in just 13 days en route to a box office total of $1.67 billion. That brought the long-dormant franchise roaring back to the forefront of public consciousness in a spectacular fashion. And just to think, thanks to Star Wars: The Force Awakens, it wasn't even the biggest hit of 2015. 1. Alice in Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland may just be the worst movie to earn over $1 billion at the box office, depending on your tolerance to the Transformers franchise. Tim Burton's Academy Award-winning adaptation, that's right, it won the Oscar for Best Art Direction, may not have been a critical darling, but thanks in part to the Avatar effect, it became just the 6th movie in history to cross the 10-figure milestone. After opening to a mammoth $116 million, it held the top spot at the domestic box office for 3 weeks and pulled in some big numbers overseas that ultimately accounted for over 2/3 of the movie's worldwide total. By the time it finally left theatres almost 4 months down the line, Burton's style over substance blockbuster had racked up an impressive $1.05 billion. To put things into perspective, the 2016 sequel failed to even crack $300 million globally and made less money during its entire domestic run than the original made in its first 3 days. From the quality of the films, are we really that surprised? And that's our list. What blockbuster movie successes took you by surprise? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Make sure to subscribe to the What Culture YouTube channel for more lists like this, and don't forget to visit whatculture.com for daily news and articles. Thanks for watching.